So, Insomniac's multiplayer Spider-Man game has been canceled. And of course, I'm referring to Spider-Man the Great Web. It has been canceled. Now, Spider-Man the Great Web was one of the games that was leaked in the Insomniac leaks from the Insomniac hack that took place earlier this year. And I went through thoroughly the information that was revealed in the Insomniac leaks, both in the community tab and through uploads on the channel itself. And I uploaded a video that's still up on the channel. In fact, all the videos regarding the Insomniac leaks are still up on the channel if you scroll through the recent uploads. One of those videos went into detail about everything that was revealed about Spider-Man the Great Web. And without me pulling up the actual slides that was leaked for a better visual look, basically Insomniac was planning for this game to be a live service game. It included seasons. It included multiple characters, multiple playable characters. It included a character creation feature. It included microtransactions. So it was very much not the type of game that you would expect from a company like Insomniac. Although Sony has been revealed to have numerous live service games in the works. And we're starting to see more live service games being released because the nature of the industry is changing and it's becoming more and more difficult to justify spending a budget of, upwards of $150 to $200 million on a single game and it doesn't have a multiplayer component. Video games are becoming more expensive to make, and when you factor in the development costs and the marketing costs, it becomes very hard for that type of game to become profitable. Because first it has to make its money back, similar to movies. When movies release, they have to make their budget back before they become profitable, which means that they have to sell basically twice over what it costs, to make the damn thing in the first place. And video games are the same way. That's why companies like WB Games make games like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, because at the end of the day, it's a business and, these companies are trying to make money. And it's becoming harder to justify, a single player experience, even though that's what we, the players, the consumers, ultimately want. But not every game can be a Helldivers 2, for example. In fact, most games that are released aren't a Helldivers 2 or a Palworld, using that game as an example. When it comes to the single player space, not every game can be a Baldur's Gate 3 or a Witcher 3. In fact, most games aren't that. That explains why Sony is trying to move into a more, live service direction. But I don't think that's why this game was canceled. I think the reason this game was canceled is due to the shift that's going on in the industry right now. Now, this article mentions Naughty Dog's canceled The Last of Us multiplayer game. I think even with The Last of Us multiplayer game, that particular situation, I think the end result as far as the cause of why that game was shut down and why this Spider-Man the Great Web game was shut down is the industry layoffs. So Sony alone this year has laid off around 900 people, and this just happened recently, about 2 weeks ago. A lot of people lost their jobs at various companies, which includes Naughty Dog and Insomniac, as this article mentions. And this also goes back to that other video that I uploaded, discussing the fact that Sony Interactive Entertainment will have no major projects, no major installments from well-known, franchise IP, mainstream franchise IP, through April of 2025. It says March, but it's really April. More than 7,000 people have been laid off in 2024 alone. And it's actually higher now than it was before. It's around 8,000, I believe, now. And that number is approaching 10,000 people that have been laid off. So there have been layoffs at Insomniac, Naughty Dog, Guerrilla Games, in the areas of, technology, creative, and support divisions. People that were laid off at Insomniac probably were the ones that were working on Spider-Man the Great Web. And I suspect, after they were let go, there was no way for them to continue working on this project because they didn't have the manpower, and so it was canceled. And here's what Insomniac had to say about the layoffs. Here's the official statement from Insomniac Games. There are no sufficient words to express our feelings about it. This is a solemn and unprecedented moment for our studio. We are focusing our energy on helping everyone affected through this challenging time. For those who are hiring, there are great people seeking new roles who made important contributions to Insomniac's history. We're extremely grateful for them, and they will be missed. Now, here's another question about this whole story. This game was canceled, but we know that Insomniac is making other games. We know that they're working on a new Ratchet and Clank game. We know that they're working on the Wolverine game. We know that they're working on the new X-Men franchise. Have any of those games been canceled or are in risk of being canceled? And the answer to that, the simple answer to that is no. Insomniac has a deal with Marvel for the X-Men and the Wolverine games, and Sony is definitely going to need a major exclusive in the next few years, and Wolverine is going to be their big game for 2026. So that is not canceled. That's not going to be canceled. Could it possibly be delayed? Maybe, but I don't suspect that it will. And Insomniac has already issued a statement saying that, they're going to continue working on the game as intended despite the leaks. So Wolverine is not in jeopardy. Neither is the X-Men games unless Wolverine turns out to be a bomb, which it won't be. I suspect that game will sell 10 million easily, probably within the first 3 months or less. We'll have to see. That game's not coming out for another 2 years. And Ratchet and Clank, Insomniac is probably always going to make a new Ratchet and Clank game. But for those who were looking forward to this game, who wanted to see more, there has been a trailer that has leaked online, and I did capture the trailer, so let's take a look at it. Yeah, the trailer is about 1 minute long.
New York City. Nothing in the whole world I wouldn't do for this big, beautiful apple. One moment, you're scarfing down a slice from Vinny's. The next, you're stopping a supervillain prison break. Sometimes you can swing it as a lone wolf, but you're way better off with some friends. I got a fool that tells me what to do. Sometimes I feel so nice. I want to try myself with you. I got soul, and I'm super bad. I've seen the Sinister Six before. Never so methodical, so savage. I don't think I'm gonna be enough this time, guys. But together, it just might be. You in?
So that's the trailer. There were mixed reactions to this trailer from the comments that I was seeing online. There are those that are happy that this got canceled and basically had no interest in it, and then there were other people that were disappointed that this never saw the light of day and will never see the light of day. As far as I'm concerned, I'm mixed on it myself. I think that ultimately it's a good thing that this game was canceled because, like I said, this was a live service game that they were planning, and Insomniac was potentially going to take a risk in releasing something like this, which in no way was a guaranteed success. This game would have been a huge risk, simply because of it being a live service game. Now, with that being said, I think there are elements that they could take from this to potentially include a co-op component for Marvel Spider-Man 3. And Marvel Spider-Man 3 was also a part of the Insomniac leaks. They have some of these other characters that haven't been introduced in the series thus far, such as Spider-Man 2099 and Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen right here. And I would like to see, some of those characters make their introduction into Insomniac Spider-Man franchise. But another thing that I noticed about this is that, judging from the gameplay, it looks like they gave some of these characters the same exact combat animations as Peter and, Miles. and you can't really do something like that if you're going to introduce these new characters. They got to put in more effort into this. So that's another reason why I'm glad that this was canceled. It looks like they were half-assing it in certain areas. So yeah, I would like to see some of these characters make their introduction, like Spider-Gwen right here. I want to see it done properly. Ultimately, live service is just not a good way to go for a lot of these companies. I understand why Insomniac wants to release more live service games because, game development is becoming more expensive, as I mentioned earlier. But releasing something like this for a franchise that's already extremely popular is an unnecessary risk. And given the layoffs and whatnot, it just makes it that much harder for them to, release a quality product. So ultimately, I'm glad that this was canceled. We still got Marvel's Venom that's coming out next year. That's going to bridge the gap between Marvel Spider-Man 2 and 3. And then Wolverine comes out in 2026. And then after that, in either 2027 or 2028, Marvel Spider-Man 3 will be released. And they could take some of the multiplayer concepts that they were planning for this game and have those elements be included for the next game. So it's all a wait and see, but I don't think there's any reason why they should just scrap the idea of there being co-op in these Spider-Man games completely.